Wednesday, 6:47 a.m. Your alarm goes off and you already hate today. You didn't sleep enough. You're already late. And somewhere in your head, a small voice asks, is this really how it's supposed to be? Now picture someone else's morning, 50,000 years ago. No alarm, no inbox, no calendar. He opens his eyes when the sun decides, not when a clock screams at him. He stretches. He yawns, and somehow, this guy with a rock for a pillow is already living a better morning than you. You've probably heard the claim before, ancient humans only worked a few hours a day. Today, we're checking if that's actually true, and where the 8-hour day even came from. And by the end of this, you might be a little angry, because the story of human work is way weirder and way angrier than you were taught. Let's start with the guy who only worked 3 hours a day. Anthropologist Marshall Salins studied hunter-gatherer tribes and made a claim that shocked everyone. Some foragers only spent 3 to 4 hours a day getting food. His to-do list looked like this: find some berries, make a spear if the old one broke. Done. That's it. Compare that to your to-do list. 50 emails, a Zoom call that could have been an email, a report due by 5, traffic both ways, and somehow you still feel guilty for taking a lunch break. While you're refreshing your inbox for the 10th time, our guy is just lying in the grass. A lion casually strolls by in the background. He doesn't even flinch. Why would he? He's on vacation every single day. Okay. Before you quit your job and move to the forest, there's a catch. Later, researchers pointed out that Salin's 3 to 4 hour number didn't count something huge: food prep, skinning the meat, cracking nuts, hauling water. Add all that in, and some studies put the real number closer to 40 hours a week. So, basically the same as you, not quite, because even at 40 hours, there was no boss checking if you were really working. No performance review, no 9 a.m. meeting about the 9 a.m. meeting, no concept of being on the clock at all. Work and rest weren't separated. If he felt like napping at 2 p.m., he napped at 2 p.m. Nobody would fire a caveman for that. You, on the other hand, would get a very concerned Slack message. So if hunter-gatherers weren't lazy and they weren't overworked either, what actually broke this balance? Here's the turn nobody expects. Farming didn't free us, it caged us. Around 10,000 years ago, humans started growing crops instead of foraging for them. And crops don't wait. A field doesn't care if you're tired. Weeds don't stop growing on your day off. Once you planted seeds, you were locked into a schedule set by the sun, the rain, and the harvest every single day for the rest of your life. No more 3-hour days. Now it was sunrise to sunset, 6 or 7 days a week for the entire growing season. And there was no walking away either. Once your whole village depended on that field, leaving wasn't really an option anymore. Historian and biologist Jared Diamond called agriculture the worst mistake in the history of the human race. Not because it didn't work, because of what it cost us. Fast forward a few thousand years, and it gets worse before it gets better. The Industrial Revolution didn't invent long hours, but it made them brutal. Factory shifts of 14, even 16 hours were completely normal. No sick days, no safety rules, and children as young as 6 worked the same shifts as adults, standing at machines that could take off a finger in half a second. The whistle blew before sunrise. It blew again long after sunset, and in between, there was nothing but the machine, the noise, and the clock on the wall that never seemed to move. This wasn't a bad week. This was every week, for years, for entire families. If you think your commute is bad, nobody in this factory has slept in 3 days, and everyone's pretending that's fine. Here's the part they don't teach you enough. The 8-hour day was never given to anyone. It was taken. By the 1880s, workers across the world had had enough. They marched. They chanted 3 simple words: 8 hours work, 8 hours rest, 8 hours for what we will. In 1886, in Chicago, that anger exploded into the streets. Strikes, riots, police lines, people beaten, arrested, some killed, just for demanding a day that didn't devour their entire life. It took decades more of walkouts, strikes, and blood before the 8-hour day became law in most of the world. So when you clock out at 5 p.m. today, that's not a company being generous. That boundary exists because people bled on the street for it. Your evenings, your weekends. Somebody's grandfather got dragged away in handcuffs so you could have them. So let's put the whole timeline side by side. The hunter-gatherer, 3 to 4 hours, work blended into rest, no clock, no boss. The farmer, locked to the land, sunrise to sunset, no way out. The factory worker, 16-hour shifts, children at machines, whole families worn down for generations. And you, 8 hours a day, weekends mostly free, sick days, at least in theory, a lunch break you're allowed to actually eat. Compared to the factory, you're living like royalty. Compared to the hunter-gatherer, you're still working twice as long as he did, just with better lighting. The truth is, humans didn't evolve to sit in a chair for 8 hours straight, staring at a screen, then commute home exhausted for a body that barely moved all day. Our biology is still running on caveman settings. Our calendars are running on someone else's schedule. So here's the real question, and it's not as simple as more free time equals happier. If you suddenly had the hunter-gatherer's schedule, 3 or 4 hours, then the whole day open, would you actually relax? Or would you just invent new problems to fill the space? The same way we've filled every technological shortcut with more to do instead of more rest. Maybe the issue was never really the number of hours. Maybe it's that somewhere between the field and the factory and the office, we lost the ability to just stop. So tell me, if you worked 4 hours a day like our guy back there, do you think you'd actually be happier? Or would you just find new things to stress about? Drop your honest answer in the comments. I actually want to see this argued out. And if this messed with how you look at your Monday, subscribe.